Hello, Oracles. Oracle Tim here from Oracle Investments. We have finally reached the end of this inflation uncertainty with the Fed, and now we are going green. We saw quite a rally after the news, and as we had discussed previously, we got exactly what we expected, and the market went green. And what did the Fed say? The Fed said that they're going to speed up the tapering. They're going to double the amount of bonds that they're going to be reducing. They're also looking at potentially doing 3 increases of the rates this year in 2022, 2 more in 2023, and 2 more in 2024. Those numbers might change. We'll kind of see how it goes, but as of right now, that is what everyone predicted. So that is where we are going to be sitting, and the market, hey, imagine that everything was already red because they didn't know what was going on, and the anticipation and uncertainty, we got what we wanted, and now we're green. And so what does this mean for us going forward? Well, going forward, we don't really have any other major catalysts that are coming out in the next month or so. Unless there's some, issues with Ukraine or China, something outside of the country or something that we can't even foresee happening. Looks like until we get the next CPI data, we should be pretty good. And even with the next CPI data, unless it comes in astronomically high, we're now in a position where we're anticipating inflation staying higher longer, and we now have the Fed with a plan in place to combat that. So even if it comes in high, as we expect high, should be perfectly fine, no issues going into next month. And as we saw, there was the major turnaround as soon as the news came out. So let me know in the comments if any of you picked up some shares of anything this morning. I know I added to a couple of things this morning myself, added to more Tesla as it dipped initially, and then ran at the end of the day, which was really awesome. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But, that was just great to see, kind of like a relief off of our shoulders. And now we can look down the road for another month and say, all right, is this rally going to continue, or is this kind of a fake out? Well, judging by the way the market was moving after hours, I think this rally is going to continue at least tomorrow. Looking at all the trends that we have going, most of the stuff in the downward trends still in their downward trend, despite the rally that we had at the end of the day. So the rest of this week is really going to determine whether we're breaking those trends or not. So if we can have 2 good green days in a row, tomorrow and Friday, I think we will be breaking these trends and could see this great rally continue through the end of the year. And with that, if we do get into this rally, the next couple of days could be an opportunity to buy. Yes, we're coming back up, but as we're starting the uptrend, it's still a good time to buy. Now, a question that I've had from a lot of you is, and I've been learning a lot, is what brokers to use around the world. I'm here in the US, so I know what we have. We have a lot of commission-free trading, a lot of options for fractional trading. Let me know in the comments below, all of you from around the world, what different apps and brokers do you guys use? Because there's a bunch of you on here from, I've got Singapore, China, Australia, Germany, so many of you from all over the place. Really curious as to what you guys are using to help others out, because if you guys know of a great app to use, I want to be able to share it with everyone else, because maybe there's something that they don't know about and that could help them out. So let me know in the comments below which ones you guys use and which ones are your favorites for your area, so that this way we can share it with everyone. And also, now that we have some clarity as to what the Fed's stance is going to be to combat what we now see as a little bit longer lasting inflation, we can judge and put a game plan together as to what's going to transpire over the next year, and which stocks we want to get into, which stocks we don't want to get into, and kind of, the best places to put our money over the next year. And just as a reminder, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just giving some of my insights and ideas based on my experience, what I've seen in the charts, what I've heard from other people and other analysts and other investors and fund managers, and how they view things going forward. And I put it all together and kind of come up with my own formula. So this is just my idea of what's going to happen and how I'm going to play it. But things change and plans can change. But based on the news I know now, this is a little bit of a insight and forecast as to what I think is going to happen. So I think for the next month or so, we're going to see a bit of a rally, especially in some of the higher growth stocks, the things that have been beat down really hard. The reason I think this is going to happen is because when we do start to raise rates, then all those growth stocks are going to be punished. Anything that is not profitable and self-sustaining is going to be punished. This is because when the interest rates go up, when these companies who need to borrow money have to do so, it's more expensive for them. Now they have to borrow money and pay more back because it's higher interest rates, which is why for the last 18 months, they didn't have to worry about that and the growth stocks were through the roof because interest rates were zero. So now when we bring the interest rates back up, these high growth stocks are going to come down. But I think it's because the next month or so they're going to rally. People are going to sell out of them to take those little bit of profits and get themselves clean, and then put them into the stocks that are strong and suited to weather inflation rates going up. And now this doesn't mean that these high growth stocks are going to go away. It just means that they're either going to trade lower or sideways for a little bit of a next year until everything kind of gets back to normal, interest rates catch up. So you might see 6 to 12 months of sideways trading for these high growth stocks. Meanwhile, the other stocks that are solid foundations, the FANG stocks, Tesla, I do lump Tesla into those. These well-established stocks will do better during these times of the inflation being higher and interest rates going up. And to be honest, I think index funds over the next year are probably going to do just as well as they did this year. I think that's going to be a good place to put your money if you're especially looking for like a place to park your cash. I know I'm going to get myself back into the SPY because even if it doesn't go up as much as it did this past year, I think it's going to be a safer place to put my money than some of the growth stocks or just keeping it in cash. And now to talk about Tesla specifically, I think Tesla is going to see a little bit of ups and downs, sort of like what we've seen over the last month. We're probably going to see that for the next month. Again, as I discussed before, we will know later this week. If Elon does a second sale this week, then I think he will be done with all of his sales by the end of the year. If we don't see one, then we might be until like the January 10th through 14th mark for the end of his sales. Once that happens, I see a rally coming for the stock. I see the stock rallying right through Q4 earnings. I see Q4 earnings being a blowout. And I see the roadmap that Elon lays down for us being a huge catalyst to drive the stock much higher. And then once the euphoria from the roadmap and Q4 earnings settles down, I think the stock price will come down a little bit, and then we'll trade sideways for a little bit. I think with the ramping of the 2 new factories, a lot of good catalysts coming, but it'll be similar to last year where we had a bunch of good news going on, but there was just a lot of FUD thrown on top of it, and that's all that was listened to, and it kept the stock at bay. I think we may see a little bit of that this year for a few months going into the Q3. And I think we're going to get some good news out of Q3 earnings, but the problem we're going to have is we have election time going on. And I think the election uncertainty is going to keep all stocks down at that time, just as it always does. We'll probably have a rough October, but then once the election is done, I think we're going to see a great rally. People are then going to start buying in at that point because of Tesla's earnings and all the different things that have been going on over the course of the year. And then we see another awesome run up into the end of the year and potentially a split right around then as well. And again, a lot can happen between now and then. I'm still playing this long term, 5 to 10 years out. I just like to see what's going on over the next year, because if we do follow this pattern, it just reinforces that 10-year plan. So I just kind of monitor it to make sure we're still on track with everything going forward. But I do feel that that's potentially what could happen over the next year. So we may have a lot of great buying opportunities right now. We'll see a run up, and then we might see a couple of months of great buying opportunities on a little bit of a dip and sideways trading over the summer before we get into election time, and might get another good buying opportunity right before the election. Let me know in the comments below what you think 2022 is going to look like as far as a trading market based on the news that we have now. Let me know if you think that we're going to see a much higher run up in Tesla stock, if you think it's going to crash because we have interest rates going up, or do you think it's going to stay strong? Thank you all so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. Thank you all so much for your support and feedback. I will see you guys in the morning with any updated Tesla news that we've got. Maybe we have seen some Elon sales. I haven't seen any Form 4s. I just checked again right now. But otherwise, I will see you in the morning. Have a great one.